The sophomore quarterback drops back, floats into the end zone, and it's intercepted. Brisker! Wow! Brisker! What a game! Penn State!
Hello and welcome to Trading Twos, a Penn State football podcast. I am Brian Parsons. I am joined, as always, by my good friend Will Pegler. And Will, we're 1-0.
What's up, dude? We're 1-0 today. Pumped. Penn State takes down Nevada 46-11. I think it's kind of everything we could ask for in terms of everybody stayed healthy. We saw a lot of stuff. Excited to go through it today.
Yeah, I mean, where do you want to start? I feel like...
Yeah, man. I mean, yeah, I think it was a classic week one kind of cupcake win. I actually, to somebody's point on Twitter, Penn State hasn't really had a true like cupcake season opener like this since Idaho in 2019, because 2020 they lost to Indiana, 2021 was Wisconsin, and then we got into the West Virginia stuff. 22
Purdue was in there.
Yeah, exactly. Purdue. Yeah. So exactly, they've had some really hard games to open the season. So if this felt weird, it's probably because they haven't done this in a while. I think we still saw a lot of things. I think there's a lot to take from it. I honestly thought Drew looked great. He stayed in longer than I thought he would. He kept going into the fourth quarter, which I thought was interesting. It was good to get him reps, but I thought we would have seen Grunk like a series earlier once Penn State got up like 40 or so. But I do think we have to start with the wide receivers. I think that's the number one thing in my opinion. We can get through other stuff, but and I know we tweeted this from our account too. Like Trey Wallace went off against West Virginia. We got to be careful about it. But Kyron Hudson looked awesome, dude. And Trevor Pena, it was interesting kind of seeing him as like the gadget guy, I think you said, which it did feel like he was running like jet sweeps, getting handoffs. It was just super exciting. That sideline catch that Hudson made that he basically brought it in with one hand was exciting. It was one of the better catches I've seen a Penn State wide receiver make in quite a while. So yeah, man, I think that's the number one thing for me.
Yeah, agreed. And I think everyone would think the same way, especially with how the wide receivers have struggled recently.
Yeah.
Hudson 6 for 89 with a touchdown. Pena 7 for 74. I have a little bit of a pessimistic look about this, but also it's very fair to say it's just Nevada, but also that catch Hudson made, like, that doesn't matter if someone's guarding him or not. That's a high degree of difficulty catch that is hard to make.
Catch. Yeah. Agree.
To your point about Trey Wallace last year, he went 5 for 117 with 2 touchdowns versus West Virginia. This week, Trey Wallace in his debut for Ole Miss went 5 for 130 with a touchdown versus Georgia State.
Oh,
which is interesting.
That's fascinating. I didn't even think to look at that. Wow.
So, but I think the overwhelming response is these guys can play. They can ball.
Yeah, man. I mean, I think it's what I think James said. He was super excited about Kyron in his press conference. I think he said he looked great. He's what he expected. He actually said he was surprised about Pena, which I think is interesting that he'd even say that and open that much. But yeah, I mean, if Pena can be like the slot guy, kind of gadget, if he can honestly be, I don't know, a smaller version of what Tyler Warren was in terms of how we can get him the ball in different ways, that'd be really, really cool. Kyron Hudson also looks massive. I don't know if I picked up on that completely in the offseason. I guess I hadn't thought about the fact that he was going to be the outside, like top height target, I guess, for lack of a better word. But he looks huge. He was standing next to a couple of coaches. He looks thick and big and like strong. He looks like a big NFL prototypical wide receiver, which is really exciting. Trey Wallace and Amari Evans never looked overwhelming. Amari Evans for sure, but even Trey Wallace, they never looked overwhelmingly like big to me, which is cool.
Yeah, so at first I kept saying Kyron Hudson looked like KJ. I think it was just because of the number 1 and he had the eye black. And then I realized he actually kind of looks like AJ Brown. Like they're both 6'1". AJ Brown's 227, Hudson's 216. So they both have that like thicker build, but like very smooth. Yeah, it's exciting. It's Drew having new toys to work with, and for what feels like the first time in his career, actually talented and what could be productive wide receiver. I'm already getting ahead of myself here. I said a pessimistic look at it, but I mean they look good.
Yeah, no, I mean obviously we're gonna have to say it's funny, like we're going to have to say that qualifier for a month because they've got FIU next week and then they've got Nova. And like, if they play well there, again, it's going to be like, well, it's, joke cornerbacks. No offense to those programs, but until they play against Oregon, that's what's going to be said. I think just to put a bow on it too, just to talk about all the big plays, I thought the touchdown catch was awesome. Like that was an awesome throw by Drew. He kind of layered it over the DB, and Kyron doesn't necessarily get lost against a DB like that against an Oregon or even like a mid Big Ten team like Wisconsin. I don't think that happens as well, but even still, it was an awesome throw, and it looked like they're on the same kind of vibe, or same kind of wavelength. Like it looks like they have good chemistry is really what I'm trying to say, which is cool and really, really encouraging. So again, we'll temper it. We'll be thoughtful about it. Like that was Nevada. Next week it's FIU. These aren't world beating teams, but we're allowed. I'm not going to apologize for getting excited, I guess is my point.
Yeah. And I think James postgame said he was disappointed by the lack of explosive plays, which I feel like no matter what happens, he's going to be. But yeah. I felt like the game plan today was just to get Drew in rhythm with those guys in a live setting.
Right.
Like a lot of quick throws, a lot of tempo throws, and for all intents and purposes was a success. So
100%.
Yeah. The Trey Wallace, West Virginia thing always will scare me, but they looked in sync, which it doesn't matter who's defending you. If they're in sync, you're in sync. So 100%. I think that's going to be the big objective of these next 3 games.
And it's consistency. If he does it, to be honest, I will be. I mean, I said we've got to wait for Oregon, which we do. But if Kyron Hudson continues to play well against FIU and he has days against FIU and Nova, then it is sort of like, okay, he's displaying consistency. And James has been asking for that for 2 or 3 seasons now, really, since Mitch Tinsley and Parker Washington. So if that's a sign of consistency, if he can do that in these next 3 weeks, that's probably the main thing we should look for. We should pull from against or in these, likely blowouts again against FIU and Nova.
And Drew looked good. Drew looked good. He's stepping into his throws, mobile. There was like 4 times I just yelled, "Don't get hurt" at my TV. But I mean, you got to take a hit at some point, so I might as well just get into the rhythm of it early.
He ran a little bit. He scrambled on I think it was a 2nd and medium, or maybe they had gotten backed up on a penalty and it was 1st and long, but it looked kind of like a design QB draw. His short pass wasn't there. He kind of put his shoulder down against the linebacker and kind of kept moving. It took like a couple safeties to tackle him. So yeah, man, he looked like Drew looked like last year in most of the games, honestly. Competent, confident, stepping into his throws. Like you said, I think he had 4 incompletions. Yeah, 22 of 26. He had that touchdown pass. I think other than the miscommunication by him and Dawkins on offense, the snap came in a little hot and he just lost it. And that sucked because it was off a turnover and backed him up for a field goal. Other than that, I don't think there's anything to complain about.
Yeah. And I think we should get to DDS, but can I take kind of what you said there somewhere else? With the miss snap, were you surprised that Kotelnicki was going tempo a lot? I felt like that was new this year compared to last year.
It was. They were lined up as a huddle team all of last year, and they did that mostly yesterday, but they kept that. I mean, on Nick Singleton's second touchdown, they sprinted up to the line again like that, which I don't know if they're doing it because it's an inferior defense and they're already gassed. But a couple times, yeah, I mean, it was to the detriment of Penn State. I felt like the offensive linemen were like gassed. Like I think that's what happened. I think also, and I know we want to get to DDS too, and this sort of has to do with it, but in a lot of these games, I think these games against lower tier FBS opponents, the 2 lines are where the differences really stand out. Like the O line likely dominates and the D line dominates. I think we'll get to it in a sec. Penn State's D-line, I mean, they ran circles around Nevada's tackles and guards. Like, that was a joke. And I think we expected that. That's what you're supposed to do against an inferior team because you just have more talent. Excuse me. It was not as obvious on the offensive line in the run game. And I'm wondering if part of that was because they were a little bit not used to that hurry-up tempo. Because it looked like they wouldn't do it every play. Kotelnicki they'd almost try to, like, sneak an extra play in, and they'd sprint up to the line.
It felt like when I'm...
Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say it kind of felt like when I'm playing college football 26 and I get a good play and I would just like hold down Y because I'm like, all right, we're like in a rhythm. Like let's just run mesh 10 times in a row because we're in a rhythm.
Right. And I don't know. It's just you brought it up, and it was something I saw a lot of on Twitter. Like, why was the run game not that strong? And I mean, Nick had 2 touchdowns. Kyron had 1. Their yardage was not great. But I that's not something I'm worried about at all. And I still think the offensive line has a chance to be the best in college football. I was wondering, hey, maybe they were not. I think they're well conditioned, but maybe they weren't. They're just not used to this kind of random hurry up offense tempo. So I'm just wondering if that could be an impact. Honestly, I'm asking the question. Maybe it wasn't, but anyway, I'm just wondering if that was a factor in their play.
Yeah. And the offensive line, James said before the season that they have 7 guys they view as starters, and they put 7 starters on the field at times, which was
literally
interesting.
Yeah. I think they did, I forget when, but they pulled Vega Ione out wide so Cooper Cousins could come in. TJ Shanahan got a ton of run. So I'm still super excited about the group. And obviously I'm excited about Singleton and Allen. I mean, Katron looked awesome on his touchdown run, by the way. And we can get to that more in a sec. But and then I think to the previous point about, dominating on the lines against these inferior opponents, the defensive line was sick. I mean, you wanted to talk about Deny. He was incredible, man. I mean, he disrupted every single play. There was that one play where, it seemed like this is how they coached them to do it, but the scouting report on Purdy, Chubba Purdy, was he can run well, so they ran a ton of options. I think there were multiple plays Deny was like, I'm tackling the running back no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
And he would just
it was violent.
Like Chubba kept it, and then the safety would handle Chubba, and it was great. But Deny would just to send a message, just bury the running back.
Yep, he finished with four tackles, 2.5 TFLs, and a sack.
Crazy.
Yeah, it felt like the only time Nevada was able to get something good going on offense was when Penn State would just guess on the option and guess wrong, and Purdy would just get loose for 15 yards or something. But when they guessed right, dude, it was violent. It was fast. He has. I wrote down. Should they just have him stat pad in these games against the inferior offensive lines and just rack up sacks? Because he's going to be in contention for some defensive awards, for sure.
Yeah. I think that's funny you say that, because when you said, I was just looking at the box score last night, kind of writing down some takeaways. His stat line it's not underwhelming, but compared to how it felt like he played, I'm kind of like, really? That's it? Because it felt like he was in on every single play.
It felt like he had 8 sacks.
Yeah, right. And I mean, he had the first forced fumble, which was sweet. And then there was the other pass deflection that caused Zane Durant to get the pick like quickly later on in the first quarter. But yeah, man, I think it's his speed that's sort of Abdul Carter-ish. Not to make that comparison, but it feels like at that number 1 defensive end position, there's not going to be a ton of drop off. I mean, his speed, and again, it was Nevada. Well, he'd say that qualifier, so he could really run around the tackles. But once he'd get into the backfield, and Purdy's a fast quarterback. I mean, Deny was like keeping up with him. He'd run around the edge. He'd force him to throw it or force him out of bounds, trip him up. That's a scary guy to be running from. So I think his speed is so top end from such a big guy and such a enforcing tackler. Yeah, man, I was super excited. I mean, I was excited about him, and then even Durant looked great. Chaz Coleman kind of made an impact early too, which was really cool. One of your freshman guys. Yeah, man, I'm pretty thrilled about that D line.
Yeah, and with Fisher being out, we got a chance to look at a bunch of other people rotate in. And I think going forward, we can't really count on Fisher to be a starter. It might just be when he plays.
Yeah,
we'll take it, but. At this point, is his injury history. It's really unfortunate, but just he hasn't been able to stay healthy, and it just after last year's injury, not being able to make this first game was just you got to feel for him. But
sucks.
Being able to see guys like Chaz looked really good. Like there were a few plays where he was like a tick away from a violent sack. Jalen Harvey, I wasn't super impressed with, to my detriment, as he's my guy, but there was a few plays that felt like he was just behind the snap. Like DDS would get off fast, but he wasn't there. But he earned the start, and I think James prefers having someone that's not a true freshman start.
Right.
So good
That's a big
things.
deal.
I mean, that the D-line depth was definitely a concern, but I think a little bit of that was calmed yesterday.
Right. 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 I think, yeah, I totally agree. I think, again, you say it with the qualifier that it was Nevada, but outside of Chuba Purdy scrambling and running, and that was a scouting report, right? He's fast. He can get outside and run. He made a couple plays that way. Outside of that, they didn't really have any semblance of offense, which is great because that's what you're supposed to do against a team like Nevada. And I think that obviously they had that drive when the backups were in, which was frustrating to see him. I didn't want him to score a touchdown. That would have been cool to just hold him to 3. But other than that, yeah, I mean, Penn State shut him down. I think the just outside of the D line, it was cool to see Amari Campbell, UNC transfer, have the green dot. Didn't seem like there were any issues there with him and Knowles.
He looked good.
Plays in, the defense looked ready every single play, which is good. I know they had an issue with that against Bowling Green last year in the first home game. He looked good. I think DeLuca made a couple plays. Another one, he's underratedly fast. I feel like he was really, he kept up with Purdy, which Purdy
He looked
has
like a psycho out
he has
there.
top tier speed. I mean, Purdy's, I think his 40 time is really quick. So you can say it's just Nevada, but that fast is fast, and that Purdy guy is really fast. So the fact that we kept up with him is cool.
Yeah, our scouting report on Purdy, I think, was just he's Brock Purdy's brother. But
yeah, that's a fair point. And I knew he was
also,
fast, but that's about it.
And I think just to stay on the defense, moving back to the secondary, Zion Tracy didn't play.
Yep.
And Kenny Wosley ended up getting the start over Colin Dinkins.
Yeah.
I wasn't blown away with the play by the secondary. Like, there were a few, I think, coverages where some guy just sat in a soft spot in the zone and got open. There was that one deep play where he got in between the two safeties and had a long pass. But
Yeah.
I think with the new defensive coordinator, these are good times to work out these kinks.
Exactly.
But again, kind of just nitpicking. Like, they largely were shut down.
No, I mean, it was yeah. Sorry, Ryan. I didn't mean to cut you off.
That was it.
Yeah. No, I think just defensively as a whole, on offense, there are so many returners that we know and we're familiar with. I mean, even like Cam Wallace and Corey Smith, we know those guys as kind of the next up at running back. And Cam Wallace had that hurdle, which was sweet too. But on defense, I think I had to have that full roster in front of me a little bit more, just because it's largely a pretty revamped defense. I mean, we know DeLuca, we know Denai, we know Zane, and then a couple of the DBs, but a lot of these guys are new. So that was really cool to see guys celebrate big plays. So that was fun. That was fun for sure.
Yeah, and I think Antoine Belgrave Shorter in his debut played very well, and that was just I didn't see him on the screen a lot, which to me meant that he was locking things down a little bit.
Exactly. One other point I want to make, or just one thing I want to hit on before we get into like some of our segments and stuff, would be a lot of what we saw on Twitter with the new field or some of the renovations that are happening. Looked pretty awesome, man. The press box looks sweet on the east side now with kind of the new view. I saw they were doing like an open air thing. This is all from Audrey Snyder. Shout out at her Substack. But all the pictures of the open air press box look great. And that west side, that railing, like drink area they have, you can like stand and have a beer while you're watching the game. Look pretty sweet, dude. It looks like they're making the most of. I mean, it's a construction site partially right now. I know it's on pause right now, but they're making the most of it. It looks pretty awesome to me.
Yeah, once the temporary bleachers filled in, which took a little bit with, I think, it being the first game for the students, it looked legit. Like, I think at a passing glance, if you didn't know the stadium was under construction, you would think it was an active construction zone. Like, it looked good.
Yeah.
Dude, I want to have a beer at that drink rail. I want to buy one of those seats. Dude, it looks sweet.
Awesome. And the view, there's never been a bad view at Beaver Stadium, but Audrey was posting pictures from the temporary bleachers. It was like, this looks sweet. I mean, and I know if you're not good with heights, that's kind of creepy, but they're not like rickety. Like they look kind of uniform with the rest of how the bleachers usually are. So it looked awesome, man. They got Surfsides on the menu now, I saw, which is cool.
Dude, Surfside's going global.
Surfside is going global. Maybe they should sponsor us. But yeah, I mean, that and the press box looks sweet. It's cool that it's open air. It looked like a standard, like, Big Ten press box, which the old press box, we know, I loved it, but it was not up to standard with the rest of the Big Ten. So it's an exciting things are happening on and off the field right now. So shout out our guy Pat Kraft.
Yeah, and go subscribe to Audrey's Substack, Inside the Lions. She had some really great photos and explanations of the new things that were up there. So shout out to her.
We were 100%. My dad and I were sitting, we were watching the Clemson LSU game, but just catching up on stuff last night in the game. And he was like, yo, should I subscribe to Audrey? I was like, bro, you haven't yet? Like, yeah.
Get
she's
the year, get the yearly membership.
I know what he was saying. And then it's not much. I think it's like $65 a year, but then the premium membership, 120, you get happy hours with her, which I did not do, but I thought about it. All right. Well, yeah, I think that really covers it with the game itself. A lot of positives. I think this is what we expected. There's a lot of good things to take away. A lot of new players stepped in and are exciting. And I think a lot of the established guys played how they were supposed to against Nevada. So just to put a bow on that, do you have kind of a one guy who stood out or really just an MVP? And we can start. Yeah.
My MVP is Ryan Barker, the kicker. He went 4 for 4. Longest was 39 yards. He cashed in all of his field goals and all of his extra points. But all the other guys, there's kind of the caveat of it was Nevada, but a kicker making 4 field goals in the first game of the year, love to see it. And I think that was encouraging.
I'm really glad you said that. We didn't bring up special teams, but man, he was so pure. And James said it in his post-game presser, but a lot of those drives they didn't finish off, which was frustrating, but it was almost good to see Ryan Barker get practice. He was money. I mean, like, no problem. The holds were all perfect. Besides that weird 2-point conversion they did, where it looked like they were the Indianapolis Colts with Pat McAfee. Like, there was one center, and then Smolik just got tackled immediately. I don't know what the fuck that was. But other than that, and that wasn't even Barker's fault. So other than that, Barker was money, man. And yeah, super, super excited about that. I mean, he's the man now. Since that kick at USC, he's like our guy.
Yeah. A lot of people took issue with James not going for it on some of those situations where I think if it was a real game, you probably would go for it.
Agreed.
I had no problem with that. I thought it was fine to get some special teams reps in because, again, these games is kind of just about reps. And I feel like getting a true live kicking rep is maybe more valuable than revealing a 4th down play call that you might want to save for Oregon. So I had no issue with that as long as it doesn't carry over to real game scenarios.
100%. I think that's kind of the thought. Like, get the kids some reps, and I think if that's the difference between, I guess, Penn State covering or like that if a couple of field goals instead of going for it are the difference in Penn State winning 60-11 versus 46-11. Who cares? Get Barker some practice.
Yeah.
I mean, he looked awesome. I saw a tweet. Somebody was like, I need to see Penn State put up 50. It's like, well, those are like subjective things. I mean, they could have. Drew didn't play the fourth quarter.
Wait 2 weeks.
Exactly.
Like it's going to happen against Villanova.
It'll happen. And it's a subject. I mean, they won 46-11. It was a blowout. It was never close. Obviously, Nevada had that touchdown lead. Credit to them. They seem like a cool team. I kind of like their head coach. So anyway, I'm with you. I love that as MVP. I really like Barker. I think he's actually, I don't want to hype him up too hard and give him the announcer jinx. So I just knocked on wood, but he's looked great. So I love that as MVP.
Well, before we get to your MVP, to stay on special teams, I thought it was very interesting Riley Thompson lost the punter job.
Yeah, I forgot about
Gabe
that.
Nwosu seemingly supplanted him, but the Penn State didn't punt, so we didn't get to see it live. But he was announced as the starter.
I was going to say, so I saw that tweet come through as they were announcing the starting lineups, which looked really cool. The video, I saw some video of the people love that when they announced the starters. It looked like it was another well done video. So shout out to Penn State again. But yeah, weird because Thompson's still on the roster. I didn't think that was a battle. I had thought he was a pretty solid punter, to be honest. Nothing comes to mind in terms of like huge errors by him or Shanks. But yeah, to your point, I saw that Nwosu was a starter. I think I texted you and some other guys, and I was like, oh, that's weird. And then I forgot about it because we didn't punt. But yeah, something to watch. I mean, he's got to be one of the tallest punters in FBS football, right? I mean, Gabe's huge.
Yeah, I mean, he's built like a defensive tackle, like actually.
He literally is.
Um,
I mean, in high school, I think he did play defensive line and then happened to be an awesome kicker. So we'll see, though. That's something to watch. That's interesting.
yeah, kind of like Chaz Coleman,
Yeah,
except he
yeah.
was the opposite. He was a
Yeah,
punter turned defensive end.
my mom was listening and she was like, "Wait, so what? The guy Ryan was talking about is the punter now, the defensive end?" I was like, "Oh no, but no, also could be a DM because she saw him. She was like, that guy looks like a defensive lineman."
That's funny.
Um, okay, well, yeah, we can. Love the Barker pick. I went more obvious, and we don't need to spend too much time on it. But Kyron Hudson's my MVP. I think I saw a lot, like, the meme. It's like, you saved my life, and it's like, I'm literally Kyron Hudson. That's kind of,
Yeah,
I think that's how a lot of people felt yesterday. I think he did stat-wise, he didn't dominate, but he did. He made a lot of nice catches. He played well. I think with the context in that these guys were being looked at under such a hard microscope and so had so many eyes on them, he played awesome. I think he had that one drop where the throw was kind of behind him, though. He would have had 2 touchdowns if he didn't drop that early in the game. He looked awesome. I think considering how well we need him and the other guys to play this year, this was a huge performance. He didn't leave any questions. He looks like a wide receiver 1 so far. So I'm going to give him the MVP just with that context in mind and just knowing what we needed from him.
love it. And yeah, across the board at wide receiver, there were no recorded drops besides Liam Clifford, which came late in the fourth quarter on that, I think, like, little weird screenplay. But yeah, Pat Corbler from Black Sheep Diaries tweeted out, Kyron Hudson and Trevor Pena have saved me spiritually. So I think that kind of
Exactly.
goes to your point of very cathartic for Penn State fans. And I think
It
we have
was.
at least 3 weeks until a gut check. So let's soak it in a little bit.
100%, man. I'm so with. I'm not going to apologize for being excited about it. What? 11 catches across those guys? No, 13, 6 and 7,
Yep.
13 catches across Hudson and Pena. That's awesome. I'm very excited. So Kyron Hudson gets my MVP. If Trevor Pena plays awesome next week, I will give him the MVP too, because I love having real wide receivers. So
I'm
far,
going to
so
continue being like edgy and different and picking special teams guys
I love
for my
that.
MVPs. But
Barker's such a good MVP. I'm really glad he said that because it was a shame we didn't talk about him. So that's
yeah,
good.
dude, kickers are people too.
Especially Barker, man. I mean, he's a legend for that USC kick. So I
Yeah.
love him. Do we want to do our superlatives? We're going to do one each this week. And again, this can be it's like we did in the preseason episode. Ryan and I will each say one. We'll try to guess it, but just something that happened, some of that happened in the game that we'll do. You wanna kick us off, Ryan?
Yeah, and again, I picked one that you're never going to get, but this person gets the Marie Curie Award.
Okay, wait. Marie Curie. Who is
Yeah,
that?
the famous the the first woman to win a Nobel Peace Prize. She's a
Okay.
famous French chemist and physicist.
Nobel Peace Prize. Well, there was a female ref on the field. Um, is it Jim Knowles?
No,
Who is it, dude? I don't know. I don't know.
it's Ellie Sheehan. Ellie Sheehan she
Oh
gets the
my
Marie
God,
Curie
that's
Award for
yeah.
thriving as a woman in a traditionally male-dominated space. She is the first ever female drum major for Penn State, and she nailed the flip. So shout out to her.
That's all. I hadn't seen video of it, but that's great that she nailed it. That's awesome. Yeah, that was a great story in the offseason. First woman drum major. That's really cool. Good for her. I mean, that is one of my favorite. I mean, the Blue Band's the best band in all of college football, to be honest. So I'm glad she nailed it. That's very cool. I like that as a superlative.
Yeah, and when I was trying to find the video of her, I just searched drum major, and it looked like there were actually at a few different schools. There was the first time a woman was a drum major,
Oh
so
wow.
shout out to that.
They're copying Penn State. Shocker. Penn State's setting
Yeah,
the standard per usual.
the standard is the standard.
Yeah. Oh, the Ohio State band spelled Corso. Really?
Yeah, our drum major is a girl. We're pioneers.
And
So
she
how
hits a
about that?
flip, dude. It's sick. The
Yeah,
Ohio State, they go out there, whatever. They dot the I and they just stand there. That's like their thing. And they're considered like a world famous band. Blue Band hits a flip, then she does it on the 50, and then she runs back to the goal line and does it. We should have her
yeah,
on.
we should have her on.
Ellie Sheehan, that'd be sick. That'd be sick.
Yeah, I'm not gonna really speak to like the musical ability of any bands because I
No.
don't really know. I don't know sounds like that, but come on. We got Snoyles
The backup
and
line.
Flips.
Yeah. I love that one. That's very cool. We should have her on. That's a cool story. And it's cool she nailed it, man. Good for her. Shout out Ellie Sheehan.
Yeah.
Um,
Who's your superlative?
we are gonna go. Let me pull it up so I enunciate it correctly. Let me go to my notes. We have the "Just Take It Easy, Man" award.
Is that for James for freaking out on the refs at the end of the game?
It is. It's a little obvious, but holy shit! I mean, a ton of reporters had video of him on the sideline. So it sounds like what happened, and he explained it in his post game on the field right away. And Drew was like covering his mouth and laughing. I don't know if you saw that. Drew like started to smile and was like, "Dude, calm down." It was. I mean, they ended up taking a knee, but so they were in the huddle, and the ref on the field did this to re-up because the play clock had run out, but there was an injury or some delay, so the play clock had to restart. But the head ref didn't acknowledge it, so Penn State got to delay a game because the play clock didn't reset. And I could hear he was like, "You did this! Like what the hell?" And he was screaming, "You're full of shit!" Like from the side. He's like, "You're full." He was so mad. I loved it. I'm telling him to take it easy, but no, I love the fire. Like don't mess with the offense's process. And it was an objective mess up by that crew. I mean, Penn State was about to take a knee, so who cares really? And I saw some people being like, "Oh, it was performative by James." He's freaking
No.
he's crazy. So I love it. I want our guy to be crazy. I want the players to be a little bit more even keeled, which they were. They were all like, "Dude, this guy's insane." I think, but he was pissed. He was screaming. I mean, after the game ended, he was screaming. He was still fired up in the on-field post-game presser. I think he opened his beat reporter like post-game availability with it. So anyway, very funny kind of side storyline yesterday. So yeah,
I feel like that was Chris just being like, dude, you have to address this out of the gate so it doesn't become a thing.
He
But
didn't apologize, which he shouldn't because the rest.
no, and he shouldn't.
Yeah.
And you know what? Good for him because these third stringers and people who are making their college football debuts late in the game, they deserve the same level of intensity and fairness than the starters because some of them might never play again or they're going to be playing in live situations a year or 2 years down the line. So they deserve the same playing field. And I think that's James's mentality. Like if you remember him icing the kicker a few years ago, like up 60 points.
Yeah.
His argument there was these guys deserve the same live reps that the starters get. So I back him on that. I love that he's a crazy person. Yeah.
I think
Great
the other,
shot there.
and last year, remember in the last regular season game, Mike Loxley was mad. He was still trying, and like had the four stringers out there scoring touchdowns. But 100%, man, like those guys want to get run. Like they should get the same opportunity to run the offense as it's meant to be operated. So I love it. But just take it easy, James. Like it's okay. I love you getting fired up, but it's not. You're not. He was. Did you see? I think Mark Brennan. I'll shout him out. Actually, got video. It's like a 2-minute video of him just laying into the ref, like sprinting at him. So
yeah, and he like almost didn't shake hands with the Nevada coach because he had to let the ref hear it first.
Yeah. He was like, let me handle this first.
I feel like the Nevada coach was like scared of him after like
probably, yeah. He was like, dude, let me take my 1.8 mil and just fly back to Reno. It's fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's probably a nice flight home.
Yeah, it's probably chill. I mean,
1.6 mil in the pocket and, you know, some guys getting to say they played in Beaver Stadium.
Exactly. It's a cool
experience,
Nevada. Honestly. And obviously we're huge Nevada fans now. I hope they win every game the rest of the season and we dominate it.
They might.
They totally do. Purdy's fast.
Whatever conference. It's Mountain West,
I think, right? Yeah. I also want to make sure we check in on our segments. I think not a ton of them even took place. Obviously, no flag plantings. Drew wasn't crazy emotional. The main one I do want to discuss is we have Kyron under 7.5 booms. He boomed yesterday.
That feels like a loss. That feels completely like a loss.
He got in and he gave a boom, bitch, and it was strong. So I know I kind of agree because he did it so fast. I will say your point about if the touchdown ends up getting reversed and he still booms, does it still count? I think a boom is a boom, and if it happens, I think we have to count it. It does feel like a loss. I would agree with you.
Yeah, I'm scared of him just like doing 3 in a row. at some point.
He just
Just
like
like
spammed
spamming it
through.
in someone's face. Yeah. Um,
Well, yeah, yeah. I
it
I think
seems like Penn State's kind of leading into it at this point. Like they
I
were
know,
tweeting videos of it. Where
I
at the
know.
beginning it was like, "Hey man, don't like say bitch into the like big circle thing that is like a direct feed to the TV audio." But it kind of seems like a thing now, and I'm all for it. This is a bet I'm happy to lose.
Me too. Yeah, I mean, I agreed. I think your thought was like you want to hedge in case he has a new celebration. I don't think you're topping boom. So I think it's just gonna
No.
happen. You got to think he's getting it again against FIU at least once. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll monitor it. I think it's my favorite one to monitor. Um, so yeah, we'll kind of track that throughout the year. The only other one I want to mention is our over 55K at the Rutgers game. Rutgers struggled against Ohio Thursday night. They won, but Ryan and I were locked into it very closely because we were like, geez, if Rutgers loses to Ohio, they might get a drop off in their attendance real quick.
Yeah. Um, but I did have some people reach out to me and say it's interesting you're going to this game because Saturday after Thanksgiving, what are you doing? If
Exactly.
you're at home in the Northeast area and it's a drive or an Amtrak away, like, let's go. Let's hit the over.
I don't need to watch every second of the Michigan and Ohio State game when I can just enjoy the beauty that is Greg Schiano and James Franklin dueling at Highmark Solutions Fields. Maybe is that what it's called?
SHI Stadium.
I think that's what it is. I think it's Highmark Solutions. Something like that. Whatever. Doesn't matter. Anyway.
I got Highmark insurance.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I'm going to back Rutgers this entire season.
No, I think it's
They're
anyway, it doesn't matter. Sorry, keep going.
PJ, who used to be the Penn State sound guy, is now
Yeah.
involved with Rutgers PR, and they do a good job. Bad on-field product, it looks like so far, but a lot of game left.
Well, their quarterback is we don't have to get too deep into Rutgers here, but he's the old Minnesota quarterback, and I'm blanking on his name right now. It's Greek. Kaliak
Oh,
McManus.
Callie
Yeah,
McManus.
and he didn't look great. So shout out
Happen.
Cam Miller, who transferred there from Penn State to Rutgers. All the best.
Yeah, he
But
scored.
yeah. He had that block punt and ran it in. Either way, anyway, it's a situation we will monitor. Kind of.
Yes.
Yeah. We'll see how the curve goes. It's like COVID. We'll monitor Rutgers season like it's a curve.
Yeah.
It keeps going up. We're gonna smash over 55K.
I'm not cashing that in. I'm riding that out.
Oh yeah, hell yeah, dude. Are you kidding me? They won. A win's a win. They beat Ohio.
Yeah. But the other thing to check in on was your underrated guy.
I was pretty excited yesterday. I texted "I know ball" in all caps to our group chat after King Mac. Man, I think he had like 2 tackles on defense. He didn't really stand out a ton, but no huge mistakes either. But he had a sweet kick return. He had like a 90-yard kick return that he almost housed. Kind of midway through the game. I forget if it was the second or the third quarter, but yeah, man, I was fired up for him. I mean, he is quick. He looks like an awesome kick returner so far. I think he had one other opportunity on it and he didn't do much, but I was proud of him. I was really excited. I was glad. I think I have him making either forcing or completing a turnover at the whiteout. So we'll see if that happens, but he's already making big plays week 1. So I'm excited about that one.
Yeah. Return of the Mac. That's just what it is.
And I knew. Oh, sorry, Ryan. Go ahead.
If his big role is being a returner this season, I love the idea of someone leaving Alabama just to be like a special teams guy at Penn State.
I know. I mean, we'll get in this. I don't think we have the snap counts yet, but I do think he got some run at safety. So
Yeah, he did.
He'll do other stuff. But yeah, man, I was excited about it. I think that count. If he's like a dominant returner, that absolutely counts as a successful underrated guy, in my opinion. So,
sure, 100%.
And I know your guy, Jalen Harvey, we mentioned him a little bit earlier. He got some run, I believe.
He was the starter.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So that counts, but I mean, no splash plays yet, but underrated guy being announced to start. I mean, everyone was expecting it to be Chaz.
Right.
But ball knowers like myself knew it was going to be Harvey.
It's okay. Not everybody knows ball. So it's okay, guys. But
yeah, but that's why you listen to the pod.
Yeah.
And that has nothing to do with James historically not naming true freshman starters out of principle at all.
Right. Yeah, I think we're both. Those both count as. I'm marking that as checkmark wins for both of us. Big play from King Mac and a start from a true freshman, Harvey.
Cool. And
yeah, go ahead.
I want to move to national stuff eventually because there are some things to touch on. But I have a question for you.
Hit me,
Is Cam Wallace Saquon?
bro. So listen, I was watching the game with listener Connor Procarpio, one of our buddies, and he was calling him Faquan, which I actually really like.
That's
Um,
great.
but that was sick. I mean, I stood up. I was like, yo, like he fully cleared the guy, took kind of a pop after, but he popped right up. Sick hurdle. I mean, he fully cleared him. I mean, that was like no question about it. He didn't do it backwards. Shout out to Saquon. But no, man, that was awesome. He looked really good. And so did Corey Smith, the other guy. I think this running back room is exciting. I think like Singleton and Allen will do both their things these next 2 weeks. Again, FIU and Nova, they'll get carries like in the first half. But I'm really excited to see these guys get run because they're really the future of the backfield in 2026 and beyond.
It felt like he entered the game and was just like, I'm going to hurdle someone. Like I'm gonna find an opportunity and I'm gonna hit a spin move or hit a hurdle or do something to get people talking about me. And was he 25 last year? I feel like he switched to 26.
He might have. I don't know, honestly, because I thought I was when he first did it. I was like, oh, was that Corey Smith or Cam Wallace? I forgot. I don't know. That's a good question. That might be worth looking into. But either way, man, sweet hurdle. I know Singleton and Allen had fine days with the touchdowns. Yeah, Cam had 5 carries, 19 yards. He looked good. I know Corey Smith, I think, also had 5 carries, so like an equal split right there. Obviously, Cam stands out more because of the hurdle, but I think that RB3 spot, I mean, the hurdle was awesome, but I do think that's a
Yeah.
relatively open competition still, which is good. I think that's how James wants it. Like, if it's 2 guys that are both really good and vying for it, then hell yeah, man. I mean, there were times last year, obviously, when I know Nick Singleton missed time with injury. So injury's a thing, like for Singleton or Allen. So, and you want to have a second guy that's ready to roll. So,
Yeah, and Nick and Kyron, I love them and they're gonna have great years, but there are some guys behind them that I am super excited to see next year. Tiki Hayes, especially, I have a lot of stock in. Quentin Martin Jr. His high school team is insane. 2
yeah,
PA guys. So the future is now and also in the future.
I love it, dude. I love it. The future is bright and also now. Um, awesome, man. Well, do we want to wrap up with some? Actually, I'll ask you. Do you have any other kind of large takeaways or anything you want to hit on before we move into maybe a national check in to close out the pod this week?
I'm looking at the notes I took during the game, which I was very happy to do, and no, I think we kind of hit all of it. I did have somewhere though I wanted to start from a national perspective, and I wanted to get your thoughts on this take.
Yeah,
Arch versus Ohio State looked a lot like Drew versus Ohio State in his first start in the shoe.
I
He
don't
was holding onto the ball, not taking risks. One really stupid interception. Um, yeah, I couldn't help but see the similarities between them. They both are super talented physically, but kind of it felt like there was a little bit of a mental block in that first start at the Horseshoe, like really tough environment. But then at the end of the game, when they were like, dude, like if we don't score on this drive, like the game's
We're
over.
dead.
He
Yeah,
was just slinging it. And that felt like Drew last year at the USC game where it's like, dude, we're behind. Like go out there and throw
rip
3
it.
interceptions. Like just rip it. Yeah, I mean, he looked terrible, but um, I couldn't help but kind of make that comparison. And I think some other people might have agreed with me on Twitter there.
I was getting flashbacks. Because he made a couple of sick throws. Like we were texting and I was like, geez, he looks bad. He looks rattled. And then he'd like hit a guy between a DB and a safety down the field. And I'd be like, oh my God, that was one of the best throws I've ever seen. But then on like the check down crossers or like short passes, it looked like he was like short arming it or like this. He was just in his head. Like the wide open throws that you just have to hit, he was not hitting, which that makes me think he's still going to be awesome. But he was nervous. I mean, at the shoe is a really hard place to start. Obviously, that's hashtag analysis, a hard place to play. So yeah, I think he's still going to be great, but I do think Arch's play fits into a larger storyline of I don't know what other. I think from the national conversation in terms of guys that are expected to be first round picks alongside Drew, like top national quarterbacks, nobody really stood out. Like I didn't. The LSU Clemson game was really good, and obviously those are 2 defenses, really good defenses going at each other. Klubnik and Nussmeier on Clemson and LSU respectively, like neither of them really stood out. So
Yeah. I think after the Ohio State, I was actually keeping an eye on the Heisman odds, but Arch dropped pretty hard after his game, and then I think Klubnik rose to being the number one, and then Klubnik dropped after his game because he looked pretty bad. So Nussmeier is leading the charge right now, but it really feels like anyone's game.
100%.
Drew's plus 1,800.
Not bad
Jackson
value.
Arnold he's also plus 1,800, but he looked pretty feisty in that Auburn game.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, it kind of just felt like Drew's ops one by one were kind of getting dropped off yesterday, just
I didn't
having
say
bad
it.
performances. And
Yeah.
so this is going to be an interesting thing to watch as the season goes on. And I don't know
100%.
if Drew winning the Heisman is a good thing for Penn State. It would be an amazing thing. It would be an amazing thing for Penn State, but
I know
Drew Aller for Heisman.com.
history says I'm not sure we won it based on winning a national championship. Like you don't generally win one if you have a guy win the Heisman. Obviously, there's some outliers, but that's historically that doesn't happen. But I don't care. I'm gonna root for Drew to have an amazing year. Like, let's make history. Why not? Let's
You know
change the course of history here.
Let's do it. Let's start the campaign now.
Yeah.
Drew Aller for Heisman.com. Go there. Drew Aller can win the Heisman.
He totally can. He looked great.
He's got Penn State's gonna have 10 wins, 11 wins, 12 wins. He's gonna have a lot of opportunities for Heisman moments. He looked professional yesterday. He looked composed. So as long as he avoids a Notre Dame-esque error, there's no reason for him not to be in the conversation come November.
He looked good. An awesome game, like a really, really awesome game by him against Oregon, and a win will change the conversation. He'll actually be, like, if he has an awesome game, he'll be in the convo, but that's what it's going to take. So we'll see. We'll see. I don't want to get...
do you remember how he played versus Oregon last year? That was one of the best games of his career.
Exactly. It was a couple picks and a loss, but still, he balled out largely. So let's go, man.
Yeah, let's not get ahead of ourselves, but
I still love
did
it.
purchase Drew Eller for Heisman.com like a year ago. So
we did. That happened. So that's a kind of our way of taking stock and betting on him.
But again, not getting ahead of ourselves.
No, never. One other quarterback on the national scale that you might be forgetting about because it was Thursday night, Bo Pribula, dude. He played awesome. I am so happy for Bo. That touchdown run he had, the touchdown pass he had was kind of a dime. I believe it was Central Arkansas who they beat, so whatever. But he played all this. I believe the quarterback he was battling with left with an injury, so never want to see injuries. But that could open up a path for him to be their starter with our boy Drinkwitz. Yeah, man, really excited for him.
Yeah, and I saw Tangwall make the point on Twitter after the game that Bo would be the ideal quarterback or fit for Kotelnicki's offense, which is interesting how he was the one leaving, but he looked great. And I think we saw flashes of it at Wisconsin last year. He was not going to be the most accurate passer in the world, but he's just got like an it factor, which is very important. It was fun to watch him. I'm happy for him. The pride of York, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, man. No need to be a downer, Tangwall. We can just be happy. We can just be happy for Bo. I know, like, we knew it right away. I was like, ooh, if Drew plays badly at all, people are gonna be like, bring back Bo. Like, we're not having that conversation. But we can just be happy. That's what we're gonna do.
You know what? Someone else tweeted at us, Matt Brown. He said, when Drew goes to the NFL next year, who's stopping Pribula from doing a King Mac thing and coming back to Penn State?
That would be insane. I don't know.
That would be insane.
Maybe. Who knows? Maybe. But I'm not.
I didn't even consider that.
I'm not. My brain is so locked in on this season, so I can't even get there. But I love the thought, Matt. Shout out. Thank you.
That would be interesting. My other thought watching the games yesterday was, is Penn State going to be the number one ranked team in the AP poll come Monday or Tuesday morning?
It'll be Ohio State, right? I think. I like my mom was making the same point. I mean, Ohio State was 3, but they beat the number 1 team, and I don't think Penn State did anything to like. I mean, Penn State did what they were supposed to do, and Ohio State theoretically upset Texas. I mean, who knows? It was preseason rankings, but I think it'll be Ohio State 1, Penn State 2. I'd be really, really surprised if it wasn't. Are you thinking otherwise?
No, I agree with you.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to be until those two teams play. It might flip back and forth a few times, especially if Penn State gets a big win over Oregon.
Fair. Yeah.
A lot of game left until then, though. It's tough to get that far ahead of ourselves.
So much left to happen. I think so. Ohio State have a bye next week? They have a weird schedule.
I'm not sure what their schedule looks like.
Okay. Well, so yeah, you're right.
They play someone crazy next week, I think.
They've got Grambling State. They've got Ohio, who just gave Rutgers a good fight. And then the weekend, they also have a bye the same week we have a bye, and then they play Washington when we play Oregon. So I agree. I think you're right. I think it'll flip flop. If Penn State beats Oregon handily and Ohio State continues to win, then we could potentially take their spot. It also depends on what Texas does. Like if Texas is dominant the rest of the way, then that makes Ohio State's win mean even more. It'll be really interesting to track though.
Yeah, and I don't know if that's something we or Penn State necessarily wants, but I think they'll get some number one votes at least.
Agreed.
Coming off the weekend.
100%. I think they will get votes, and as they should. I think they have an argument for it. I just don't think. I think Ohio State's got a better one at this point in time. I think just other thoughts. I have a couple funny Big Ten thoughts written down. Northwestern looks so bad. I feel bad for them. They lost to Tulane. I know they have the cool. They play on Lake Michigan right now. They have the cool field, but God, they look bad. They're not going to do anything positive for the conference this year, unfortunately. I was just kind of looking around at other conference scores, and that one obviously stood out.
Dude, Rayola looked pretty terrible.
I know, but then he ended up at the end of the game. He did end up making some throws, but he looked weird at points. Like I'm kind of waiting for him to be the dominant guy that he's supposed to be. I mean, he's young. He was born in 2005, which freaks me out. But yeah, I mean, he threw for 243 yards, 2 touchdowns. He did all right, but I agree with you. He looked kind of shaky against a not great Cincinnati team.
I left that game with some of my concerns about the Nebraska-Penn State game being diminished.
Yes, I think that's fair, and I think that's how a lot of people felt.
But dude, it was so weird. They played at Arrowhead, and then Tennessee and Syracuse played in Atlanta.
Why?
What are we doing?
Why did Cincinnati accept that as a neutral
home game?
Cincinnati loses. I guess they lose a home game. Like, what the hell are you doing? Because it was Kansas City.
I don't know.
It was like all Nebraska. I mean, they had Travis Kelce there supporting them, but like otherwise, I mean, it was all Nebraska fans. That was weird. That was the main game I watched Thursday night. But yeah, it was bizarre. Agreed.
We don't need to be doing that.
No,
like just have the game at Cincinnati. That would be fun.
Weird, right? Really weird. Yeah, in terms of other like national scale thoughts, Texas, Ohio State. Oh, I'm just thinking this now, but Thomas Castellanos, dude, he backed up the Florida State quarterback. I mean, he was talking crap all offseason about Bama. I think people were largely laughing at him. Bama's in trouble, dude. I mean, Castellanos is awesome, but yikes. Like, DeBoer might be an issue.
DeBoer is officially an issue.
I mean,
people were saying like, oh, he's got his guy from Washington now, Ryan Grubb, coming over.
Yeah,
but Florida State was 2-10 last year. And I know Castellanos was kind of a dog at Boston College, but I mean, he's not like Alabama should win that game.
I know it was pouring rain, so like maybe Castellanos is a rain guy. He is fun to watch, man. He's undersized, but he runs that option. He can throw fairly well. I think the whole country was rooting for him yesterday.
Absolutely.
Back it up against, and especially after the year Florida State had last year. I've always kind of had a soft spot for Florida State after I thought they got screwed out of the playoff in 2023
by Alabama
when Travis got hurt. So good for them, man. Good for Mike Norvell. This is why we love college football. It's the best. Yep. Goofy stuff like this can happen. Bama, like an all-time program, can fall like that. And I'm just glad it wasn't us yesterday.
Yeah, and it's interesting that we kind of view Florida State as a bad program after their past season, but I would like to see them make a run, especially after what happened, and Norvell getting a little bit of redemption there.
Yeah.
Um,
And I'm glad you said that. That's a fair point too. I mean, it was certainly an upset, but Florida State is still, I mean, they've got 5 stars on their roster. They're not it's not like Nevada playing Penn State. Florida State's a real team, but certainly a huge upset. I mean, Bama, I think, was number 8 yesterday, and Florida State was unranked. So based on the preseason expectations, it was a massive upset. But I hope Florida State, maybe they can be an ACC contender. I know I had Clemson kind of running the table in the ACC, but that already looks shaky with the LSU loss yesterday. So
yep.
who knows?
Castellanos calling a shot in June saying Nick Saban is there to save you, and then backing it up yesterday was just.
I know.
It's great.
I know. It's awesome. I saw another tweet. It was a picture of Saban's old, like, really cool, like, leather chair office with a cool carpet, and then it's DeBoer's office now, and it's really, like, kind of bare and, like, not. It just looks like silly. But it was like the moment they turned Saban's office into a Target, like Bama lost the culture. Maybe they did, bro. You hate to see it.
You hate to see it, dude. Especially an SEC team losing to an ACC team. Dude, the SEC had a bad weekend. LSU was kind of the saving grace, but
I know LSU win is big, but yeah, Bama falling to Florida State. Not, I think Georgia dominated Marshall, but whatever.
okay.
Yeah, okay.
Not everyone can beat Marshall, dude.
Facts.
Marcus
I think that's I feel like that's a good place to leave it on the national scale. Any other kind of big thoughts, Ryan, or no?
I was kind of upset. Penn State was playing Nevada, and I still am upset they're playing FIU and Villanova. But when they cut into that CBS intro, when I saw Beaver Stadium filled, like, my heart skipped a beat. That never gets old. No matter who we're playing, it still fired me up. I was really happy for football to be back. I was really happy for Penn State football to be back. I was really happy James was yelling at refs in the fourth quarter, winning by 40 points.
100%.
It just felt very cozy and comfortable and familiar and exciting yesterday. So that's where I'm going to leave it.
Me too, man. 100%. I also shout out Lee Corso, but shout out Gary Danielson. This is his last season. James presented him with a ball. And I like CBS's Big Ten coverage, to your point. I thought the intro was good, nostalgic, fun. Yeah, man. I'm just so happy college football is back. It is really, like, my favorite thing. Penn State football is my favorite thing. I love watching it. I love texting everybody and kind of doing things like this, having conversations. And so glad we're doing it kind of on a consistent basis. So, we'll be back kind of later this week with a look at FIU, but really a larger conversation on kind of where things stand, what we're looking for against FIU. And yeah, man, I think, we'll be back. We'll be back later this week. But thank you guys again for listening.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Thanks for listening. Make sure to rate the pod 5 stars on Spotify. If you listen on Spotify, leave a comment. You drop us a follow, subscribe on YouTube, whatever you can do to help us out. But we appreciate all the support we've gotten so far, and see you later this week.
Thanks, guys.